So I started with Dreamwell in 2000 in a play called To Jerusalem. And it's a 3-person show, 3 men. It was Jesus, Judas, and then there was someone who played 2 short parts, a blind beggar and a guard. And I do remember when I went to auditions that it was at the Unitarian Church, and I didn't know anything about any of this, and I went down and there was 2 men. There was Jamie Ewing and Jay Stein with this short, white-haired, feisty woman who turned out to be Pauline Tiger, who was the director. And we read some parts, and then she says, well, there's 3 actors and there's 3 parts. You got this one, you got this one, you got this one, kind of thing. And so I ended up being the blind beggar and the guard part, which was fine. And it was like, I think about the end of July, and for some reason someone couldn't start right away. So she said our first rehearsal would be the day after Labor Day, and you had to come in with your parts memorized. So I did, and she was kind of impressed by that, but I said, well, she kind of scared me. I mean, I was like, how was I not going to have my stuff ready to go? But I remember when we did the show, it was Pauline's idea that the blind, because at some point after the play begins, Jesus goes to the blind beggar and he heals him to demonstrate a miracle to Judas. And Pauline thought, why don't we pull you out of the audience? So before the show began, when the house first opened, I would go out from the back of the house to my appointed chair in the audience, and I had dark glasses on, and I had my cane, and I sat down. And one day, this very nice woman sat next to me, and she was whispering in my ear, saying, "Well, now there's a table and 2 chairs on the stage, and now a man entered. He's wearing a tie and a suit." She's explained all these things to me. And then they pulled me on stage for my part, and I did it. And at the end of the play, she's up to me and she's laughing, and she says, I thought you were blind, yo." And she really enjoyed that. That turned out to be Jenny. I think her last name was Jocelyn. She was the actress involved in ICCT. She's a really neat lady, and it ended up that I ended up doing a play with her eventually later on as well too. So, but I always thought that was kind of fun. That kind of pulled through that way. So, actually, all those men, I ended up doing something with Jamie Ewing and Jay. We ended up doing other shows together. They're great people, and Pauline as well. So it was as I got involved in more and more shows, I just had more development with other people and actors and learn a lot. That's the cool thing about Dreamwell, is you get involved in a few shows and you learn from people that have been there a while. And that's the cool thing with Dreamwell as both an organization and a board, is where we have a lot of experience and a lot of range of experience, from people who are kind of newbies, whatever, to people who have professional credits, or people who have been trained at the university, whatever. So it's kind of neat that way. There was Jesus play. There was Corpus Christi had Jesus, and of course there was the Last Days of Judas Iscariot, where I actually played Jesus. So it was probably one of the best roles in the show, I might say. The show takes 3 hours about to run. Jesus comes out at the very beginning and kisses Judas's mother, who has the monologue. Then he goes off stage, and about 2 hours and 45 minutes later, he comes back on again for a really neat interaction with Judas. And then there's another monologue, and the show's over. But still, it's worth waiting around for Jesus. I suppose that's true in many ways. Well, of course, doing acting, I've been on the board as a at-large member. I was president for 2 or 3 years, I think. I think I was vice president, never treasurer, never secretary. But I've also been involved in the artistic team. For a while, I was an artistic co-director with Rachel Linhart, and now we've developed a artistic committee. And so, yeah, those are. Oh, I've also have directed 3 plays with Dreamwell, and that's one thing I do appreciate about Dreamwell, is at least with me and many others, they've given an opportunity to try new things and test things and yeah. Well, I think it's all those things, actually. I think we like to pick plays that aren't routinely done. And I think it gives another flavor to the theater scene in Iowa City. I think we like to do plays that challenge people, both with topics that are difficult to discuss, but also ones that make us think. What comes to mind recently is like Gideon's Knot, which dealt with child suicide. We've done things like that have dealt with child abuse. We've dealt with things that a play that I'm very proud that we did was 9 Parts of Desire, which was a series of 9 monologues, basically by from different Iraqi women and their perspectives on being a woman in modern day Iraq. And we did that play over in the Shakespeare Theater in City Park some time back. I think it was originally written as a one-woman show, but in the playwright interviewed several Iraqi women and then consolidated them into 9 different monologues, which represented different women from different walks of life and ages. But it was just a stunning play that was done. I still remember in the preface of the play, the playwright wrote that she was going through customs to get into Iraq to write this play. This was back, I think, in the early 2000s. But and they asked her what she was doing, and she described how she was going to be interviewing women for this project. And she said that the customs person said to her, "Just remember, our people are not our government." And I think that can be applicable to other times and even today, that remembering that, people are not defined by their government necessarily. And I think it's just things like that we do that make our audiences think about things, and that's what makes it proud to be part of Dreamwell. Well, perhaps it's the people that are involved with the shows are interested in the same thing. I think there are, I'm just speaking generically, but I think there are some people who just enjoy doing musicals, enjoy doing broad comedies, and there's a theater for them to do that. The folks that come together for Dreamwell, the people on our board, are people that are dedicated to this kind of thinking, and I don't know how to quantify it more than that. I think it's, and perhaps we're just, although we don't shoot for this and we're not pleased about it necessarily, but we don't mind necessarily, if we can do a show that has substance and makes people think, and if we get an audience of 15, that's still a success. Whereas you could do a very broad comedy that's 50 years old and fill the house, but you not maybe have done as much. You may feel you could have done more. So that's how I see it, is that there are just themes that need to be out there to make us think. We did Stuff Happens. We did just different political plays. We did Liz Estrada one year, I remember, which is a very old play, but still was relevant at that time and even today. Something we did and that I'm also very proud of is we did Wake. And that was one that was done a year after 9/11. And we just made a point not to call it a 9/11 play. We said it was going to be a show that talked about theater's response to tragedy, and through different improv games and stuff, we came up with this stuff, whatever, this material, and somebody was always recording our games and the stuff that we came up with, and we weaved it together into different monologues. I think there were songs. I wrote a children's story that went awry, went into war, and stuff, and we performed it. And to this day, and that must have been about 15 more years ago, I think, but I still remember that. It was just an amazing experience. We had very low turnout for that, but in fact, there was one night, just the reviewer and somebody else that came, but it was still, we're very proud to do that. And Dreamwell has been dedicated since to doing those kinds of original works, that kind of stuff. But so I guess I don't want to say that we don't mind a small audience, but I think it's just that we aren't afraid to do those kind of shows that people might be like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to go or not, because there are people that'll be like, I really do want to go to that. That's so cool. I won't see that anywhere else. And that's what we want. We want that kind of response. You're not going to see it anywhere else. And we're very good at it. how we do it too. We make a point to get good directors, and we're organized to get it going so that the director can find the people that he or she needs. I never really thought of that. I think that Iowa City, yes, does have a certain amount of diversity in and of itself as the city. But I'm sure that people also exist like that in smaller communities too, with that kind of thinking. They just may not ever have any outlet for that. So the fact, though, that we do have people that drive from other communities to participate in our theater says something about that too, that we attract people from from Washington, from Cedar Rapids sometimes, Mount Vernon. People drive here to be part of our theater. Oh, well, I think that we're not rigid. I think that I started with Dreamwell, I think, after they were around for 3 years, I want to say. And from what I've seen in the seasons that they first did, into what they did when I came on board, to what we're doing now, it keeps evolving. And I think, and also in terms of technical stuff as well as material. And I think if we had said from day one, well, this is how the theater is going to be, and that's how it's always going to be, we probably would have folded in 3 years. But and by the time I came on board, really two of the founders were gone, and the third one, Sharon, was just about, because they started a family, so she was gone for quite a while. And Matt was always open to having new people on the board, and talking about different things, and really evolving with stuff. And I think that's what makes it sell. I think it's not a one person or two person thing. We are very much a board driven theater, and so people come on, they have new ideas, and we pretty much all have the same, like I said before, we seem to all have the same basic drive to do shows that are new, that are original, that make you think, that are maybe that you might not see anywhere else, but then there's other ways to go around that, which we all work together on. Sure. Well, I would say part of that is that, in a way, whether it was intentional or not, Matt Falduto has kind of weaned himself from the board anyway. I mean, he's done a great job with lots of things throughout the years, but the last several years, as I'm recalling, he wasn't president anymore. He was more of a at-large board member. He's still a big part of our play selection artistic committee, but I think there are things other people are doing a lot of things that maybe one person used to do a while ago. So it's not like suddenly no one knows how to do anything. It's like a lot of things, even with the finances. He's also had our executive director and president are taking much more role on that, in ordering scripts and things like that. So I think a lot of those things are already being delegated to other people, so that it'll pick up too. And I don't really believe that Matt Falduto will never step door in Dreamwell again. I think he will come back to participate and visit, and of course, he will always be welcome back to our board, obviously. So, well, I do see us doing more with original work, and I see us that we've had, over the years, a number of they call them writing jousts or writing contests, and people seem to like that, and we have had people that now, as artistic chair, I get emails from people with their scripts saying, I've read about Dreamwell, I've heard about Dreamwell. We look at our scripts, and that's very exciting to me too. And I think that's something I see us doing more of. I mean, our anniversary season actually is for original works, and then two shows we have done before. But excuse me, but it was amazing to us that we had over 200 submissions for plays. We could do another 20 years on just the submissions we got. And so it's incredible to me that people at least were interested in submitting to us their original work. And so I see us doing more with that. We've done other things too, like doing workshops, and we talk about also working with other communities, like youth, for example, which I could see us doing more of that in the coming years. I think I enjoyed being in Little Murders. It was my first big role, and there was a tremendous cast in that. I enjoyed being part of Corpus Christi. That was a bigger cast, and that was my first experience working with Matt Brubaker, and that was great experience with that. Ball was a great play. That was in our new space, actually. At that time, it was our new space at the Old Capitol Mall. I'm not sure if anybody told you, we've been in different sites in Iowa City, okay? And then I did enjoy Fortinbras, which was it was an unofficial sequel to Hamlet, written by Lee Blessing. And recently, I was enjoying being in the Nether, of course, and also I enjoyed The Pillowman. That was a play that I got to play Detective Topolsky, and he's a real badass, and I don't get to be a badass very often. So yeah, it was just, those are some of my favorites. Well, Ball was a Bertolt Brecht. It was, and it's a play about Ball is a playwright, and he goes through he meets a number of different people, but it's let's see what I'm going to say. He meets people who are probably would be considered low life type people. He goes to a brothel at one point. He goes to a bar or a tavern, and he sleeps with women indiscreetly, and he's this awful man. But he's this beautiful poet, and it's like, how can this beautiful poet have such an awful lifestyle? Whatever. I enjoyed that because I got to play a very bawdy drunk man and gave a speech about what is flesh. It decays like the spirit, whatever. And while I'm speaking, there's two people humping on the bar table in front of me and doing a very good job of it, I might add. They usually upstaged me every night, but it was that kind of show. It was wonderful. I didn't find love in Dreamwell, but I did find good friendship in Dreamwell. I would say there are many good friends I made through the theater that I still see today. Some who aren't even involved anymore with it, but they still last too. And I won't name everybody because I probably will forget somebody, but it's just that there are some good friends who I would not have met if I had not done theater, and specifically Dreamwell. And also just the respect I have for so many people that are knowledgeable about theater and the backgrounds that they have. But like I said, whether it was just from experience, we're doing community theater, or because they went to school for it or did professional work. I mean, I just love sitting down with someone and saying, we should do blah blah show, and then listening to them talk about everything else about shows and whatever else too. It's just, I really like that kind of stuff, and I like those people, and so that's what I would say. No love, but I found good friends. Happy birthday, Dreamwell. Meow. There's my cat. I didn't have a cat with me today.